Hello and welcome to July 6th, 2022. This is my daily Good Life meditation video. My name is Kurt. I do this every morning to remember my life objectives and principles and to see how I'm doing applying these to yesterday and to plan for the coming day. First, last night and yesterday, I had a rough night of sleep last night. I was up at least an hour before the alarm, just couldn't sleep, and I was worried about work. I have some good reasons to worry. Nothing, serious, nothing too serious, nothing any more than normal. It's just so strange how this has come upon me in my life in the last couple of years, this insomnia. And it's very tough, in a relative way. I mean, I don't really have any problems, so to speak, first world problems. But it's difficult. So as a result, I'm not very rested, and I've got a tough day ahead of me. One meeting in particular that's going to be a tough one, so that was on my mind. That's clearly the reason I was awake. Yeah, this insomnia is definitely related to work. Otherwise, yesterday was a really good day of work. I worked like 9.5, 10 hours. Solid day of work. I got a lot done. I should feel good about that. It wasn't really challenged by much of anything. Had a good talk with my wife at lunchtime and at dinner. Altogether, a solid day yesterday. I even wrote a blog post after work. First time I've done that in a long time. Although I kind of made a comment in that I wonder if I can fulfill. I commented to continue doing that. This video, making these videos, is just about the only thing that's been consistent in terms of a deliberate non-work related endeavor. When I was in Japan and doing a band in Japan and Softy Papa and walking in Japan, that was all easy because it was fun, easy to do, and it wasn't on a schedule, and I had ample opportunity, so that really doesn't count. Oh, and I guess writing the books, that was a deliberate effort as well, and then doing this, but for some reason, some of this stuff is harder to do. So that was on my mind too. It's like I made a blog post with a promise to make more, and I wonder if I can fulfill it. You just don't have anything to say sometimes, right? I mean, it's a dull life, I'm just trudging. I'm a man in the coal mine working away, so for the dollar, mainly to get my daughter through college. I've got some dreams, but and those are fun. See a little smile come over my face. And they're not as far away as they might seem, although they are difficult. Making this fifth great life adventure, this transition back to Japan, is going to be tricky, because this time we want to buy a house, and so we'll need the money for that. The retirement income will be all right, but that'll be just a steady flow. Well, I mean, maybe we can get a loan, because we will have that steady retirement income coming in. We could pay it off via that. I hadn't thought of that before. Anyway, let's do the Good Life meditation. 7 objectives and 30 principles as follows. My first objective is to be always ready to die, just to have my life in a good settled state. Number 2 is to make good and effective use of time, to not be, sucking my thumb, waiting the time out, and worry and doubt and concern, but to, have some fortitude and strength to do good things, to read my books, to write my blog, to make these videos, and most importantly, to swing that pick in the coal mine every day, to earn that money, to get my daughter through college and get my wife and I off on our own in retirement. Now, I know that retirement won't be a balm, and it won't be a balm, B-A-L-M, for our ills, or it won't be perfect in any means. Whatever problems I have that I've always had all my life, the little demons in my head, will be there too. But at least I won't have the stress of the job. 3 is third objective is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. That's these 7 and 30. And the next one is to cultivate good emotional reactions so that I don't fly off the handle. And then perform good actions, to just do good things. and then to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities, and then to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. Those are my objectives. Now I have my 30 principles. Number 1 is the principle of war, to always be fighting against propositions of truth, particularly the ones I've already accepted. Number 2 is the principle of reason, and the sub-principles of honesty, objectivity, and doubt, which are the frame of mind that I use to apprehend the world and to determine what is true and what is not. Number 3 is the Homunculus, a reminder that I do not have a soul. I don't think you do either. And as a result, both of us are going to be, when we're dead, that's the end of us. Number 4 is the Anchorhold, a suggestion that our consciousness is trapped. We don't have a soul, but we have a consciousness. It's trapped in our heads. It can't get away, and it's doomed. Doomed. Next is the home of good and evil, the idea that right and wrong, good and evil, these things are concepts that exist in our mind and nowhere else. There is no good or evil floating amongst the stars. It's all just ideas in the heads of sentient creatures, particularly us. I guess other animals demonstrate some sense of ethics. Maybe not just us. And next is purpose. My purpose are to be a good husband and father, to live a virtuous life, where virtue is defined as the improvement of well-being of thinking creatures, and to share my mission, which is the story in my book, Going Alone, particularly the Good Life Creed. And next is the atomic principle. Everything is made of bits and pieces falling to pieces. And then the principle of nature. Everything has some particular nature, including you and me. And then the pirate ride. The idea that free will is an all too convincing illusion, nonetheless. And then maturity, and the sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude, which is a suggestion towards being a more mature human being, by remembering my past successes and failures and striving to improve in the future. And then this, after maturity, is social principle. We human beings need one another. And then public speaking, a reminder to be very careful what I say and do, and what I say and what I write, and to never gossip. And prudence also, to be very choosy about my utterances in my writing. And then after that comes temperance, a suggestion to control my consumption. And then the horror show. Life is just a scary place full of horrible things happening. And I want to have sympathy and comfort, and offer comfort to those that are suffering, and to be ready to suffer myself. And then after that is after the horror show is that which must be borne, the things that we have to bear, like my job, like my responsibilities, all these things, my hernia. These are things I have to bear now. And then the Feast of, is that right? That which must be borne. Oh yeah, then the Feast of Offal. That's when we get upset and throw our upset out into the world and soil others and ourselves. I don't want to do that. And then distraction. We distract ourselves throughout life so that we don't have to see the great indifference, which is the next principle, the emptiness of the universe without God. And then comes, after the great indifference, comes the best seat in the house, to be okay with who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing right now. And to the Path of Wildness, which is a way to move forward through life into new life, from one episode to another. It's the transitory effort to get there. And then the risk of avoiding risk, the reminder that there's a surface level risks of life, education, career, family, home, and security, and then the deep risk of finding oneself. And sometimes it's hard to do both, to tend to both in the course of a single life. Usually we fail at one or the other. I think it's harder to fail at the deep risk, because haunts you. Failing at the surface level risks just means you have to work longer and harder and suffer in a more temporal sense. But if you've attended to the deep risk, you've had a great life adventure, and that's something that you can hang your hat on in a way, in a more mental way. But I think that's only important for people who are troubled in that regard, who are drawn to that. I think my wife would like that. You'd think I'd know. Okay. That was the risk of avoiding risk. Now, sin and damnation. There are 7 sins in my world and my worldview, and these are falsity, being untrue; credulity, believing things too readily; faith, believing things where you use the fact of the belief as the reason for the belief, the justification for the belief, which is a circular idea; and then superstition, a category of belief that is practically identified as nonsense. Superstition, authority, belief founded on the weight and impressiveness of the ones that are proposing the idea. Dogma, which is belief based on a tradition or a big book, or the numbers of people that seem to share that belief. None of those are good reasons to believe things, and to do so invites damnation in the here and now, where we're believing things that are untrue or being untrue. Or the last sin is gossip, talking about others behind their back. What a nasty sin. That was sin and damnation. Then comes complete oblivion, and the idea that after death there's nothing left of us, so there'll be no reunion with the ones we love, no chance for reconciliation, and no chance for final justice. This is the one chance we get. Next is the great life adventure, one or more experiences that kind of forms the cornerstone or the identity of our, helps to create our identity. And then the season of philosophy, which is a time to record what we've learned along the way. And then the bullseye aim, shooting for the mark but usually missing. The uphill climb, a steady trudge forward. Arena and utility, reminder to keep the principles ready at hand. That's why I exercise them every day. I think about them every day so that they're in my mind ready to use throughout the day. And then after arena and utility comes the nothing is enough, a suggestion to really reduce things down to bare bones. It's different. It doesn't feel the same as temperance doesn't, but it's different. Temperance suggests limited consumption. Nothing is enough suggests that really it's kind of the opposite. It's suggesting that we won't find happiness in consumption. It's a different idea. How much is enough? It's never enough. Nothing is enough. I'll just leave it at that. And then the last one is the principle of fun, a reminder to have a good time, both in the here and now, in our forward-looking view and in our remembrance. Our forward-looking view is our anticipation of times to come, like I'm anticipating going back to Japan, and then also our recollection and remembrance of yesterday. Keep those photos. Okay, that's my good life creed, good life meditation for today. Excuse me. Now, for today, there's nothing to it but to do it. Hit the stop button here, start this upload, go read my Bible, go feed the dogs, change my shirt, get to work. Have a good day. Be safe, but not too safe.